Folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. Today we need to graduate some double-decker nucs into the 10-frame box. So I've got 3 hives like that. Let's see, number 11, 2, and 29 over there in the woods. So these are 3 nucs that have successful laying queens in there, and I moved some of my failed nucs, the top onto the top of them, just to give them 10 frames and a little head start on that before we went ahead and moved them into a 10 frame deep box. So we're going to get started on that and see if I can get all 3 of them knocked out before the sun sets on me. So let's get started. Okay, here's our first one, hive number 11. So you can see I've got a 5-frame nuc on top and bottom, so it's just a double decker 10 frame. And this particular hive is one of my few that I did a split on, and it actually turned out. It has the mated queen in there, and I transplanted a swarm cell in here from hive 17 and put it on a frame, and that swarm cell hatched out, queen went out, mated, came back. So that's the backstory on this. So I'm going to put most of the brood in the center, and out from that I'll try to put pollen and then honey, but I don't think they'll have a whole lot of stores and stuff in here, but let's just see what we've got. Last time I was in here they didn't do much in the top, so I pulled a frame of brood up to the top to entice them to move on up. Hive tools. All right, so going to set my hive up back here. Actually, I'm going to move that out and set my hive up here. So I'm just going to bust this box off and leave the top on it. Got us a decent population here, looks like. Okay. So get this one moved off of here. Actually, we don't need that bottom in this location, so no need to bust it apart. I'm just going to move it. Maybe it'll stay on there. Yeah. This is a bottom board. I had bottom board like this. I had some of these bottom boards I made myself. So it's a screen bottom on the top and solid on the bottom, and air vents in the front and back. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And you have to take the screen off the back to pull a bottom out of it that catches all the debris. And it's really a pain, but the first beehive I bought from a guy was like that, and I thought that's the way everyone makes their bottoms. So I took one of those, sawed it, did a cross section, flipped it over and made 2 out of it. So this is the top part, and that new piece of wood you see there is where the screen was. So I'm just gonna get started now. I'm switching to all solid bottom boards because I do oxalic acid treatments. The screen bottoms that have the insert, it seems like they let a lot of the vapors out, and I want to keep all my vapors in. Okay, let's give this another try. Smoker is going now, and I've got a hive tool. These bees are nice and calm. I'm just going to smoke them down off the tops of these frames. So this is the bottom, frame number 1. And we've got a lot of brood here, capped brood. So the queen was out to that outside frame on the bottom. And this side is empty. So I'll try and keep the orientation the same with those 5 pretty much, and then put the top 5 on the outside. Unless there's some brood, and then we'll just go from there and see what we do. This was my transplant frame. Totally laid up with brood there. And totally laid up here. See the blue TP. So the queen cell I transplanted, you can't see it now. And this is totally laid up with eggs. This queen should be marked blue when we find her. Yep, there she is. Good looking 2020 queen there. And this is totally laid up with eggs. And this is the frame right next to the one the queen was on. And it's all laid up where there's comb and capped. And same thing here. Looks like she got done with this frame and moved to the one that she's on. And the last one from the bottom. And here's our pollen. And empty. So I'm not going to scoot that right up against there now, in case I find another brood frame. So let's go into the top now and see what we find. Not quite as many bees here in the top as the bottom, but there are quite a few. So this is an empty frame. I'm going to put it to the outside. This was a waxed frame I put in here. I waxed the foundation with extra wax, and they're drawing that out. So I'll put that right next to them here. And this was our brood frame. So you can see there's still quite a few uncapped or capped brood on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it, let's see, I'm going to put it right here between these two that were capped. Two more frames. So this has some nectar in it and empty. So I'm going to scoot this pollen frame over and I'll put this nectar frame right next to it, because you want the order to go brood, pollen, nectar from the inside out. And I suspect this next frame I pull out of there will be empty, and I will just put it right here. So yeah, it's basically empty, just some old comb, and we'll put it in here. This side looks better, I'll put it towards them. So one thing I notice about this hive, there's a lot of bees and not much honey stores or nectar. So we'll need to keep our eye on it. It may need fed. So I'll make a note of that. Okay, that takes care of number 11. So let's get on over to number 2 and get started on that. We'll knock that one out. We'll try and do that a lot faster. Okay, this is hive number 2. Backstory on it: the queen is from a swarm cell from hive 14, and the top box came from one of my failed nucs that got chilled out from the cold front. Okay, we'll get started here on frame 1. Got bee bread and capped brood and some uncapped larvae. Something interesting. We got us a big old super seeder cell right there. And another one right here, a cup. And I see white inside of it. So maybe that queen isn't mated well. I don't know. We've got a swarm cell, looks like, on the very bottom of this one. Maybe I let it get too crowded and hadn't done this soon enough. And there's another one at the top on this side. So there's our swarm cell. They got some going here at the top. Also, there's one right here. So I might cut off one of those cells right there and go put it in one of my hives that needs a queen. Problem is, I waited too late to get started on this and I don't have time to do it now. It's going to be dark. Here's our queen with the blue mark. There we go. So there's our queen. She doesn't look bad. She's a darker colored queen. She's probably got some of that wildflower meadows in her genetics. This is a VSH Italian. Alright, this is all honey. So it's going to go to the outside. Something I didn't show you on the other hive is to shake these bees out into your hive. And a bunch of these got knocked down on the ground. Now let's get in the top. So there's not a heavy population over here, so I don't think those cells are from swarming. I think they're superseding, because there's room up here. See, this is empty. A little bit of nectar in it. And this is empty with a little bit of nectar. So this top box is from a failed nuke, remember? I'll put that one here. This one has some honey in it, but not a whole lot. A little bit of honey and pollen. Since there's some pollen on it, I'm going to put it right here, closer to brood. And that's a nice laying frame too. So there's plenty of room for that queen to lay. They're superseding her for some reason. They don't like her. So this inner cover doesn't have a notch, so I have a spacer that has the notch. I goofed up and bought some without the notch in them. Okay, one more over there in the woods. Let's get after it. Okay, you may have noticed I've turned this hive about 45 degrees. It's normally this way. I can't set it this direction on this stand. There's no way to hold it without modifying it. So I turned it in anticipation of doing this, and the entrance would be that direction, and it wouldn't be such a big change for them. You know, I'm not seeing much going on here. We may have an empty hive. Oh no, there's bees in there. Okay. It doesn't look as strong as those other two. This hive is a artificial swarm hive, which means it's a queen from last year that I took out of the hive to prevent a swarm and let them requeen from swarm cells. So that queen may be getting kind of old. So this is the other half of that one I cut. And this would have been the bottom that's had a piece of board in it that slid out to clean off and put back in. And above this was the screened bottom. Hold the weeds. This is one of Hayden's boxes. Hayden sold out beekeeping. He brought me all his stuff. So he didn't have time for it anymore. He's busy with school and girls and work. Here's frame 1. It's full of nectar and a little bit of pollen. Not full, but that's what's in it. Frame 2, we got some cat brood here. Don't see our queen. There's a little cup there, but it's empty. Frame 3. It's got a little bit of cat brood here. Still not seeing my queen. On this side, there's a little queen cup right there at the top. I can't tell if there's anything in it or not. Got a few drone cells here at the bottom. That cup is empty. Here's our queen. So she's marked green. She's last year's queen. She should still be doing pretty good. And this is an empty frame, completely empty. Good drawn comb, good laying spot. So she may be on the downswing if she's not laying in that. So I turn this over to get all the trash off it, and then I'll shake it in here. Still got a little bit in there. Okay, let's do the top. So again, this top was from one of the failed nucs that didn't requeen. Queen didn't emerge. It got chilled out. Basically an empty frame. Another empty frame. Now this has a little bit of nectar at the top and on this side too. I'll put it over here. There's some cat brood left on this, but this is going to be left over from the donor hive of the split, I believe. I don't think that queen was up here laying. She may have been, but I doubt it. Let's see. That's brood. Let's put it closer. Nectar. All right, that last one will probably be empty. We'll just put it on the outside of this one. Yep, pretty much. So the field bees are going to be a little confused coming back, but they'll figure it out. Nothing in there to shake off, so let's get the lid on her. Okay, to help them out a little bit, I could probably turn this some, just like that other one. And then I can turn it back a little bit over time. Okay. So this queen is not doing real well. Have to keep an eye on her. They may supersede her here for a while. I've seen some of those queens. They just slowly decline, and they never build up. So it's best to requeen them if you can, because overwintering a declining queen is not a good situation to be in. So she should be laying this up right now. So that is it for the video. Got through all three before dark. I'm going to, tomorrow when I get home from work, pull out one of those cells from that on hive number 2. I'm going to cut it off, and first I'm going to figure out where I want to put one. Hive number 4 is a really strong hive, and it's failed to requeen on 2 occasions. So if I could get that in there, and if they're still queenless, I'll try that. That's the first place I'm going to look, but that's what the plan is tomorrow. If we can get home in time and get that done, and it's not too hot. Okay, I'll quit talking now. Thank you for watching. Be sure and give me a thumbs up if you would, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we'll catch you on the next one. Y'all take care.